Hello and welcome to Out of My Mind. My name is Robison Wells, and today we're going to be talking about 5 misconceptions that people have about OCD. All right, number 5 on the list of misconceptions about OCD is everything that you learned from watching the show Monk. Monk is portrayed as having OCD, but really what he has is a list of phobias, a very long list of phobias, which is played for laughs. He also has a penchant for keeping things tidy, and he is anal retentive. These things are not OCD. There might be OCD people who like to have things tidy, but not in this way. And Monk, as he is presented, uh, his OCD symptoms are either punchlines or superpowers, neither of which is an accurate portrayal of OCD. Psychology Today specifically cites Monk, that they have a whole article about Monk, and say that uh, it portrays OCD as funny and quirky instead of one, a spiral of madness, and two, a soul crushing existential dread. Those two things are keys to what OCD really is, and Monk gets them wrong. Okay, number 4 on the list of misconceptions is OCD sufferers are quirky and easily recognizable. OCD, as we've talked about before, is made up primarily of obsessive thoughts, and most of the time, those thoughts are uh, irrationally inappropriate. If you think about things that you are not supposed to say, things that you are not supposed to do, and even things that you are not supposed to think. OCD brings all of that up. And in a lot of times, those OCD thoughts are of a violent nature or a sexually deviant nature, and the sufferer is embarrassed by what is going on inside their head, and it's easier to talk, or it's easier to hide it than to talk about it. Number 3, OCD is about being tidy or clean. OCD is when you have obsessive or inappropriate thoughts in your head of a violent or a sexual nature, often, and you create coping mechanisms to deal with these thoughts. If you are color coding your books because you think they make a perfect rainbow and you think that's really cool, that is not generally OCD. The reason you do that, if it is a mental disorder at all, is obsessive compulsive personality disorder, OCPD. Um, on the other hand, if you are color coding your bookshelf because you think that if you don't, one of your family members is going to die, that's OCD. Uh, I can't explain the rationality of it because it's irrational. But very often, you do things like that. You perform certain behaviors because you know if you don't, something horrible is going to happen. You can't say, well, the first step is that I don't keep this clean, the next step is that somebody is distracted, and the next step is that they fall down. And it's not like that. It's just this knowledge that something terrible is going to happen if you don't do something about it. Okay, number 3. Number 2, the misconception that everybody is a little OCD. Uh, I hear this so much from people when I talk about OCD, and they're like, "Oh, I'm OCD too. I really love to keep things neat. I really love to. I have a problem with germs, and I like to spray everything with Lysol. While OCD does affect a great number of people, it is somewhere around 2.3% of the American population has or will have at some point in their lifetime OCD. Um, Many cases uh, are worse than others, of course, and it is not the compulsory behavior that defines it. It's very often the obsession. It's people who want to organize all of their mail into neat piles. It's fastidiousness. It's like we saw with Monk. It's anal retentiveness. To be OCD, your compulsion again needs to impede your ability to function in society. Finally, the last misconception about OCD is that OCD sufferers just need to relax. Uh, it is so common to hear things that don't help, such as stop washing your hands so much, calm down, nothing bad is going to happen, the stove is off, stop checking it, why can't you just throw this away? All of these are generally coming from people who are well meaning and they want the best for you. Um, and while there are ways that you could get past those behaviors, washing your hands, scrubbing stuff, not throwing things away, there are therapies that can get you past that. Just the nagging thoughts of friends and relatives are not going to get you past it. Uh, Antidepressants help, antipsychotics help, cognitive behavioral therapy helps, but scolding a sick person for being sick does not help. Always remember that first lesson. OCD is a spiral of madness and soul crushing existential dread. It is a disease. It is like pneumonia. You can't say, "Oh, quit coughing." If you quit coughing, you'd feel better. You can't say that to someone with pneumonia, um, or you can, but you're a jerk. Do the same thing for OCD. Treat it like it is a disease. That is the 5 misconceptions for today. Thank you guys for listening, and I will be back next week with more Out of My Mind.